Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordyn and welcome to a fun last minute sort of impromptu video. I am ready to unhaul some books and I thought it would be a fun video to make, not only to go through the books that I am going to be unhauling today, but also to talk about what I do when I unhaul books and then take you along with me for a fun little adventure out on the town. So to start, actually unhauling books is already part of my regular routine in a couple of ways. Once I finish a book, I basically make the determination of whether I want to keep that book or not. If it was 2 stars or less, unless it's a really favorite author or I really love the book cover, I probably unhaul it. And same is true for 3 and 4 star books. I make the determination whether or not to keep it based on whether I plan to ever reread it, whether I plan to lend it out or recommend it to any of my family members or friends who come by and borrow books from me, or whether I just want it part of my collection because it is either by a favorite author or has one of my favorite covers. I am obviously a sucker for the visuals, the aesthetics. I love beautiful books. So I'm not above keeping a book just because it is beautiful, but at the same time, I am kind of maxed out on space. So I do have to be a little bit discerning about the books that I keep. I do try to keep or obtain every book that I read that is 5 stars. That's something I just think is fun and kind of important to me, but otherwise I just decide on a subjective basis. Now, if I do decide to keep a book, because I am kind of maxed out on space, sometimes if I choose to keep a book, then I will also choose to unhaul a book that I've been holding on to for a while that I no longer want to keep. So I will unhaul books that I've owned for a while and haven't read for a while, but that I finally decided I didn't need to hold on to anymore. When that happens and I decide that I want to unhaul a book, let me show you where I keep my books ready to unhaul. So on my bookshelves here, all of the rainbow ordered books are books that I've read and I want to keep, but then right here at the bottom shelf is where I keep some miscellaneous goods. I've got some book sleeves, I've got office supplies, I've got book of the month socks, I've got stickers, I've got bookmarks, and then I've got my unhaul pile. And as you can see, even this is at capacity because I have books piled in front of the bookshelf. Not only do I keep the stack of books that I'm looking to unhaul, I also keep just a little bit of like shipping supplies, packing supplies, bubble wrap, and then like Amazon bubble mailers whenever I receive them. I do keep them, and that's what I use to package up books that I unhaul. The reason that I collect and keep the books that I'm technically unhauling is because the first thing that I do with books that I want to unhaul is I list them on Pango Books. No, this video is not sponsored. I wish Pango was a sponsor of my channel. I know that they sponsor other booktubers. It is just a website app service that I personally use all the time and I've had a really good experience with, so I want to talk about it because it's basically an online platform to sell used books. Just to give you an idea of how much I use Pango, according to my shop, my app, I have sold a total of 93 books on Pango since starting using it. Honestly, I don't know how long I've used it for, probably 1 or 2 years. I don't even remember when they first launched. But I've sold 93 books for a lifetime total earnings of $374.69. That is not too bad considering most of these are books that I purchased with my own money. It's nice to unhaul them and get a little bit of it back. I do not use Pango to sell special editions of books or to treat it like a business at all. I price my books usually on the lower end, just with the philosophy that I would rather make something to unhaul these books rather than nothing. The other thing I use Pango for is buying books. I buy used books through their site all the time. And when you sell books on Pango, yes, of course, Pango takes a cut, and then anything like your profits, it stays in your account. You can either withdraw it as usual, put it in your bank account, or you can use that money towards buying other books, and that's the route I go. So it's also a little funny that considering that I've made $374 on Pango in my lifetime usage, that is also almost the total amount that I've spent, because I just keep it in my account. Anytime I'm looking for a physical book, I check Pango first. I use my bank of earnings in there first to pay for the books, and it's just a really great little system. I love selling books through Pango. I love buying books through Pango. Highly, highly recommend. Now, I will say the time that Pango becomes a problem for me, or when I get to the point that I'm at now, is when I start to collect books that just aren't selling on Pango. After a really long period of time, I've marked them down as much as I really care to mark them down. To me, it's not really worth it to sell books for $1 or $2. I'd rather just donate them. And with this season of life that I'm in right now, I'm about to have a baby within the next 3 weeks. So I know that going out to the post office to ship off these books that I sell online is not really going to be something that I feel like doing. And also just having the visual clutter of that stack of books is not something I want in my life right now. I want to declutter, simplify. So today I am ready to go ahead and donate all of the books that I have sitting here in my unhaul pile. And usually once I get to that point, I decide to donate to little free libraries. I love exploring little free libraries. Again, I love used books, so I love looking in little free libraries for books that I'm interested in, but I'm also more than happy to just bring books, pop them in, not take anything in return, let someone else enjoy the books for free. I love doing that too. I don't personally have any bookstores near me that I'm in a good routine of like selling used books to or donating used books to. That's another great option if you're in an area that either doesn't have little free libraries, or maybe you're in a season. Like I live in the Midwest United States where winters get very cold. So once we're firmly in winter, people probably aren't really browsing little free libraries much. So in that case, donating or selling to a used bookstore or a library, it's a great idea. It's just not something I personally gravitate towards right now, but who knows what will happen in the future. So with that, let's get into, I think, the 13 books that I have in my unhaul pile. I'll just really quickly tell you what they are, and tell you if I've read them or not, why I'm choosing to unhaul them, how long they've been sitting on this shelf, and then last but not least, I'll take you along for a little drive, show you the experience of dropping all of these books off at little free libraries, and then if I happen to find anything that I want to take home, of course I will share that with you too. Alrighty, books that I am unhauling and donating today. First, we've got 3 recent Book of the Month books that are newer releases. If I wasn't about to have a baby, I would definitely keep these because I do think they would eventually sell on Pango, because I think they are books that people are actively searching for, but just not in the cards for me right now. And I do think somebody hopefully will be excited to see these in a little free library. So first we've got The Pairing by Casey McQuiston, queer contemporary romance. I did read it. I did unfortunately not enjoy it. I gave it 2 stars, and I don't need to collect Casey McQuiston's books. Then we've got Not in Love by Ali Hazelwood. I actually DNF'd this book. It's just not my type of romance. I have loved other Ali Hazelwood books, and I've got a few of her books in my collection, but I don't think I'm going to collect every book that she's ever written, especially because she does often branch out into other subgenres. I know that I'm not going to need her fantasy romances or her like darker, smuttier romances, so I'm happy to get rid of this one. And then we've got One Star Romance by Laura Hankin. I did read this book, contemporary romance. I liked the premise. I think I gave this book 3 stars, so it's not that I didn't enjoy it. I just have no reason to keep this book in my collection. It's not something that I'm going to really eagerly recommend to anyone in my life, and definitely not a book I'm going to reread or anything, so don't need to hold on to it. Then I've got just a couple of more backlist Book of the Month books. So Wayward by Amelia Hart is a historical fantasy type book that I read earlier this year. I actually got this copy from Book of the Month for free. It was one of their Book of the Year options, which if you're a Book of the Month BFF member, at the end of every year, you get one of the Book of the Year finalists for free. This was the only one that I hadn't read yet, so I picked it up because why not? I did read it, but didn't enjoy it. I gave it 2 stars. And especially because I got it for free, I do not need to hold on to it for any reason. And then we've got Camp Zero by Michelle Min Sterling. This was a Book of the Month pick quite a while ago, I think over a year ago. I did read it. I thought it was just okay, and I've had it listed on my Pango bookshop for a long time, also probably over a year. And it's not selling. It's not really a book I hear people wanting or actively searching for. So it definitely is ready to be donated and just completely cleared out from my shelves. All right, then I've got one aardvark book that I have read. Did I finish it? I don't think so. I might have DNF'd it. If I didn't DNF it, I probably gave it 2 stars. It's a mystery thriller about twins, but it didn't work for me. I don't remember much about it, and again, I don't think it's one that people are actively searching for. So I'm ready to get it off my shelves, and hopefully someone in a little free library will be looking for some, you know, mystery thriller that they don't know anything about, that they're willing to go out on a limb to try. That would be best case scenario, and hopefully they enjoy this one. Okay, we can stay in the thriller vein for a while. Okay, we've got Runtime by Catherine Ryan Howard. I'm a little conflicted about this one because I actually haven't read it. It was sitting on my physical TBR for a long time, over a year. I keep a very small physical TBR, and I really try to keep it to books that I am really excited to read. And unfortunately, my excitement to read this book has just waned over time. Not because I've heard particularly bad reviews. I just don't think it's like an all-time, you know, best thriller or favorite thriller, or one that's going to stand the test of time. I have read at least one other Catherine Ryan Howard book before and generally enjoyed it, but she's not a favorite author. So I just would rather get this book out of my hands and into the hands of someone who's really, really going to enjoy it, and or at least read it right away. And yeah, say I do decide I want to read this book someday, I am sure I could get this from the library, or I could find an audiobook copy. I don't think it would be hard to obtain by any means, but just because I don't have any immediate plans to read this book or that strong of a desire anymore, I'm getting rid of it. Okay, then we've got The Lion Game by Ruth Ware. I do enjoy Ruth Ware's books. I have read this one, didn't love it. Her books are kind of hit or miss for me. I actually haven't read her most recent one or two books that she's put out, so I do kind of want to catch up on them, but I don't think she's going to be an author that I need to collect every single book from. So if that's the case, I'm just going to keep my favorites on my shelf and get rid of the ones that are a little bit more duds, but I have at least read this book. All right, two more books that I have read. LA Weather by Maria Amparo Escandon. I read this for a vlog where I was reading Reese Witherspoon book club picks. I love doing those videos. This one just wasn't a favorite or a standout, so I've been ready to let go of it. And then we've got Becoming by Michelle Obama. This one's interesting because I actually still own a different copy of Becoming. I think I rated this book 5 stars, so I probably will never be getting rid of that copy, but I have an extra copy. I think my sister-in-law actually had this book, asked if I wanted it, and I had said, I've already read it, but if you want me to take it off your hands, I will happily take it and try to sell it. It's been on my Pango for quite a long time. I think this is a book that people have no trouble finding, again, either at libraries or on Pango. I'm sure there are several copies as options. So it's just been enough time that I can just put it into a little free library, and that will also be fine. But I did love that book and still own a copy, so would recommend it. And then we've got, last but not least, 3 books that I actually have not read yet. And I say yet, but actually have not read, probably won't ever. The first is The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, which is an interesting one because I bought this with every intention to read it. I know it's a fantasy, but I think it's more of an urban fantasy book. I've heard really good reviews for N.K. Jemisin's books in the past. Fantasy is outside of my comfort zone, so I've been putting off actually reading it for a while, but then my husband actually read this book. He enjoys fantasy more than I do, so I thought this might be a book that he would enjoy, especially because it is set in New York and has a lot to do with New York City and all the boroughs. My husband also loves New York City, so this had everything within it to get him to love it, and he didn't, and he doesn't think I would love it either. So I'm going to take that recommendation and just not read a book that I don't think I'm going to enjoy, because again, it's already outside of my comfort zone genre wise. I did want to give it a try, but I think I can find a better option for me in terms of fantasy books that I actually will enjoy if I get to that point. Then we've got Girl Gone Viral by Arvin Ahmadi. I believe this is a young adult like sci-fi contemporary book. I think it has to do with virtual reality. To be honest, I've heard nothing about this book. Overall reviews and ratings for it on Goodreads are not that great, so I have no reason to expect that I would love it. I picked this one up, I think at a used bookstore for pretty cheap. I had it on my TBR for a while, but I just never was getting around to it. So I listed it on Pango. It's been sitting there for a while. Doesn't seem to be a lot of appetite for it. So we'll pop it in a little free library, and hopefully someone, maybe even a teenager, can find it and read it and enjoy it. I'm just ready to clear it out. And last but not least, the final book on my unhaul pile for today is A Simple Favor by Darcy Bell. This is a mystery thriller. I have not read it. I have watched the movie and I do enjoy the movie. I love Anna Kendrick and Blake Lively, who are the two main actors in that movie, and I thought it was good. I just have no reason to go back and read the book. I'm gonna pass it on, hopefully to someone who is interested in reading the book. Maybe they've seen the movie, maybe they haven't yet and want to read the book first. I don't know, but either way, getting rid of it today. All right, so now that I've got this stack here ready to go, there is nothing left but to go ahead and drop these off at the Little Free Libraries. So I have already checked the Little Free Library website and map and made my list of addresses to go to. We've got a good bunch here to choose from, so I'll drop a couple at each and we'll see what we find. I'll bring you along. All right, let's go.
I know it's nothing new, but it's so good to see you. We do this every day, and I'm still so amazed by you. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you. I can't believe you love me. I just feel so lucky. Still can't believe you love me. I hope it never ends. Let's be more than friends. Yeah. You know I'm here to stay every single day. Yeah. So hold me tight through the night. It's just us two, me and you. I can't believe you love me. I just feel so lucky. Still can't believe you love me. Falling into your arms, dancing up in the stars. Oh, where I'd rather be than with you.
Okay, my friends. I started some Patreon sprints and just had to make sure that I'm actually muted so that they cannot hear me filming this clip. All right, we are back from all of the Little Free Libraries. It was a very successful outing. Lots of really good Little Free Libraries around here. I was actually very pleasantly surprised by the books, the book selections in the different Little Free Libraries. There were a lot of books that I was either interested in or had already read and would totally recommend. A lot of the Little Free Libraries were very full, so there wasn't a lot of room for me to put in my books, which is a good problem to have. I did pick up 2 books while I was exploring, so I thought I would very quickly share what they are. I'm very excited about both of them. The first is White Fragility by Robin DiAngelo. This is a nonfiction book that I have heard lots about, been very interested in for a long time. I have never stumbled upon a copy before, especially not free, so I was very happy to pick this up. And I do have some immediate plans to fit this into November, nonfiction November. I've got a few nonfiction books that I will definitely be reading and putting into a vlog. This will fit really nicely. And then the other one that I picked up is not one that I've necessarily had on my list to pick up, but I have heard a lot about. I've heard great things about Transcendent Kingdom by Yaa Gyasi. I believe this is historical fiction, maybe? Actually, it looks like it might just be contemporary. This is the author of Homegoing, which is another really renowned book, and it talks a bit about that book in this synopsis. But yeah, a deeply moving portrait of a family of immigrants ravaged by depression and addiction and grief. It sounds emotional, up my alley. Very happy to pick it up, and look how beautiful this cover is. Very excited to have grabbed that. So I left with 13 books. I came back with 2, but I am very excited about both of them. So overall, definitely a success. I think that's all I have to share for today. So thank you so much for coming along with me on this journey. Let me know if you have any questions about unhauling books that I didn't get to answering, or what is your preferred method of unhauling books? Do you use Pango? Do you donate? Do you sell? Let me know. I'm very curious and would love to hear your own experience. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.